And so I feel like from people that were involved in the battle to people that weren't involved in the battle, how Hollywood basically took people, real people, and had them do things that they didn't do in the battle. I understand Hollywood's need to, all right, we've got to condense 120 characters into maybe six, and we've got a 90-minute format, and here's how that happens. But there are people that were negatively impacted by Hollywood taking their name, likeness, and everything else and making them do things that they didn't do. And 29 years later, what are the ramifications from that? The awards upgrade ceremony. Sorry, I'm long-winded here. The awards upgrade ceremony that happened last year in October. Imagine being a person that was in the battle. I got a Valorous Award for my participation in what I did. And imagine everybody and their brother asking you, hey, did you get upgraded? Did you get upgraded? Did you do something more significant, whatever it might be, and having to tell them no. And then here I am, 50-something-year-old man, feeling like a shitbag because no, I'm not getting upgraded. I didn't do anything, It's 29 years later, and that stuff is still rattling around. I didn't expect to get upgraded. I didn't want to be upgraded, but that's just an example. And really the kind of final part of the project is it's meant to be an example to guys that have been serving at wartime for the last 21 years to say, here's something that happened 30 years ago, and we're still dealing with after effects, and it's not necessarily something that is so horrible now, 29 years later, but there are still things that rattle around in your brain and get you angry and upset and emotional about, something that happened that long ago.
Well, let me ask you this, and then I'll hop back to a different Black Hawk Down thing. But you mentioned the movie, and I can tell that you're very passionate about the situation you're explaining. I think you told me you've seen the movie one time, right?
Yeah, once I've probably seen pieces and parts of it, a number of times.
When you watched it, did you have a problem specifically with certain aspects where you just sat there and you're like, that is not accurate and that should not be in this film?
No, if anything, it was kind of the opposite. I was proud to have been represented, like the units be represented the way that they were. I was proud that the story of the battle in itself was told. And I feel like, it was kind of the predecessor to all these other, American Sniper and all these other very successful movies that have come out. So I get Hollywood is going to do its thing. And, they have certain dynamics that they have to work within. I totally get that. Um, I'm a person that I don't watch a lot of military films. The ones that I do watch, I don't sit there and pick apart for accuracy. Oh, that would never happen. We would never, I'm not that guy. It's a movie. It's meant to be entertainment. I understand that even, a person could be depicted doing things that they didn't necessarily do. I totally get all that. It's interesting. So there's a component of that that's involved with this project too. And how did, the information collecting, how did it get turned into, if you think about specifically the story, and as Mark Bowden started to kind of pull pieces of it together, the majority of it is hearsay. It would not stand up in a court of law. I heard this guy said this, did this. I heard this guy, that type of thing. So there are a lot of components to the movie that are very accurate. There are a lot of components that aren't very accurate, and kind of how do they fill in the blanks? That's all very interesting to me.